Hey folks, Ariel over here. So one of the things that has been really challenging with building this house over the past year and a half or so now has been the quality of materials you're able to get. Now on this channel and in my life in general, I generally try to focus on the positive things. What is doing well in the garden? Okay, the onions did great, the potatoes did great, the beans weren't spectacular, we had awesome squash. The flowers that bloom, the harvests that did well, and not focus on all the negatives in life, not because I want to be some kind of Pollyanna, but there's lots of good and bad things in life, and I find it most helpful for me to try to focus on the positives, the things that are doing well and going well and all of that kind of thing. But I also do try to show real life here, and part of real life is that things are not always perfect. So one of the really big challenges in building has been every piece of new material we have got has had issues. We have used a lot of secondhand materials where we could. The windows, obviously, as we get to more of the finished stuff in here, there is going to be a lot more of that, but there's no real good way to get a secondhand foundation or even a secondhand roof. I've occasionally seen old tin for sale, but it would be best for a shed or something where you didn't mind if it leaked a little because it's got multiple holes already through it. Not really what you can use well for something like a roof on a house where a few leaks are a big problem. So there has been things that we've not really seen any option other than to get brand new. And I want to do another whole video talking about kind of how we've made the decisions and how we designed the house and what we wanted and so on. We haven't talked about that in a while. But anyway, this has been a significant challenge because right from the foundation on, and I'm not going to go into all the details of all of this, but we got foam blocks straight from the manufacturer on their intact pallets. There were different sizes that wouldn't actually, connect quite snugly like they should in order to pour the concrete onto. This has continued with the quality of the whatever the flooring boards are called. They've got a little channel it locks together. They're supposed to be able to be exposed to the weather for months while you're building. That's what they're supposed to be rated for. We were very careful to keep this floor as dry as we could. We got water on it once the day we were setting the trusses, and we had spots that swelled and bubbled. Water touched it once for like an hour. Coming on up the walls, framing lumber that is not square, not plumb, not the same dimension, has gigantic knots through it that have split the whole way through the board. Kind of leanered off edges that you can't put things square to. The plywood that it's sheeted with had major issues. That was bad enough that the company that we bought full units from sent them back, got more who were equally bad, sent them back, and eventually ended up giving us several extra units so that we could pick through them and just discard all the non-functional pieces. But even so, they weren't plumb and square. You should be able to put two manufactured edges together if it's not an edge you've cut, and they should actually line up. They don't on a lot of them. Again, that's supposed to be rated to be, exterior grade, weatherproof. We got rain on the wall once over there before getting it protected from moisture, and we had plywood bubbling and warping. Again, it was only wet for a few minutes. It's supposed to be able to take months of that. On up to the trusses, had big knot holes in the engineered trusses. One was actually cracked, and instead of being, it was already doing this, it hadn't fully split apart, but it was cracking and no longer straight. Where some of the bottoms are joined together, that's what you put your ceiling to, that you hopefully want to have flat in the future, badly misaligned, and so on. So this has been an ongoing challenge. There's literally not one piece of new material we have gotten from any manufacturer, any source, any company, any place it was ordered through that has not had issues. And it's really driven Clay crazy because he is very precise and very meticulous and wants things to be done right. And so that's just been a real challenge, and it's something to be aware of. These doors are one really good example. It's easy to show kind of up close some of the problems that they came from the factory with, but it's been a challenge with all of the materials. We are so glad that we are almost done with any of the new materials we need to buy. But that's something to really be aware of. If you are considering building a house in 2025, Clay has been building for 50-something years. He has a lot of experience with building materials, and it's just really changed, especially because before we were building this, he was doing caretaking and ranch work and had taken a little break from being in the building industry, and the quality degradation that has happened between when he was actively building for decades and that little gap to now has just been completely shocking to him, I know. So that is something to be aware of. If you are thinking about anything you're doing, if you're buying an old house and you're gonna consider whether you're gonna remodel it or tear it down, or what you're gonna remodel it with, or are you gonna build a brand new house? I'm not saying don't do it. I think we're going to love our house when we're done, but this is a significant challenge if you're trying to do it now, that just the quality control, the materials, the manufacturing have gone so far downhill that it's really difficult to get intact, functional anything from brand new to build with. So short of mining all of your own ore and smelting it into your own metals and growing all of the trees from scratch, which in Wyoming would take hundreds of years, and so on, and doing all of it yourself, that is a challenge. So that's just something to be aware of. This is something that has taken up significant amounts of extra time the whole way through this building process. Mostly for Clay, as he has had to re-engineer, fix, re-put together, take apart and repair, or sort through, okay, I can use this end of a sheet, that one's intact, this end is missing multiple layers of wood, so I'll try to use this piece here because I need a smaller piece. It's just all time consuming and somewhat stressful. So something to know if you are watching this build go together and thinking about doing something similar. That's probably what you will find and need to deal with. So just something to be aware of. And here's more details on, one, we're not going into all the details on all these things, but on one specific thing, the doors that we just put in, like I said, are just a good example of what we've found with pretty much all of the brand new building materials. If using secondhand windows actually took any longer than installing new stuff, we have brand new doors. You might be able to see how the brand new hinge is actually stabbed that point through the steel. The steel on the steel door is dented. The top to bottom on the door frame, what is it out?
Almost 3/16 of an inch. I can't even get the door closed yet, but so inside here you are just under 36 inches down here, and this is something there's nothing I can do about. Down here you're 36 1/8. So there's an 1/8 inch difference in the jamb itself.
And then on the, what do you call this, the sill?
Yeah.
See how this side, how the threshold meets the side of the door frame? On this side, great big gap. Wasn't even close to me.
Yeah, but this mortise, after measuring everything, they have both the same length on this leg, but they cut the mortise 3/16 deeper, and so it left a big gap for water to go in there. You can caulk it, but
it's going to be a permanent risk of rotting a house.
Yeah,
because of lack of quality manufacturing. So, brand new, out of the box. Multiple issues. Oh yeah, and then the hinges. Some of these are worse than others, but they pretty well messed up the screws, setting them in the hinge. I don't know what angle I have to get at for you to see that they're all cockeyed. They don't sit flush, so that the door will not actually go flush. There's a pretty big, it's tipped out on that side and in on this side. This one's tipped down that way. I don't know how well the camera's
but what's causing this is, for the most part, is they put the wrong screw for this hinge. This screw has a bigger head than what the recess is on the hinge itself.
And this is directly ordered from Mastercraft Doors. This wasn't from a thrift store or secondhand or even a big box store or anything like that.
Just put that. I'm surprised I can even hang that. That is so crooked. This, the reveal there and the reveal there. There's on a hinge, a 1/16 of an inch is a ton. That throws this whole door off. I can fix it, but it would take some work. And what it does, it throws the pin in a bind on the jamb.
So what would you tell somebody looking to build a house in 2025 about building materials?
They suck.
That's pretty much the summary.
Yeah.
You spent more time fixing one brand new door than you did refurbishing a decades old window, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, the windows are at least 2 decades old, and they're in better shape than these doors.
Which, to be clear, are brand new and not secondhand out of a thrift store, old barn, or something.
Which I would have expected some of this if that was the case, but being brand new, I was I fully expected to just pop them in there like I've always done and go on with life, but that was not the case. Just about everything about these doors it was almost like if you have an A team, a B team, it was the B team that built these.
Might have been the Q team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so pathetic. The workmanship, the quality control just is not there.
And for reference, how many decades have you been building buildings and installing doors in them?
Many.
In the past, have you been able to buy a brand new door and install a brand new door without having to refurbish every single detail of it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially when you had big projects, you couldn't afford to do this. You would have had to send them all back because you can't afford to pay your carpenters to spend this kind of time.
2 days worth of man hours to fix a brand new door.
No.
So, if you get the chance, fix up something old you've got or find secondhand stuff if you're building something, because these doors are one prime example, but there has not been one new piece of building material, from metal to wood to trusses to plywood to foam blocks, that you have not got with manufacturing issues right out of the plant.
Yep. There's no quality control, even in your dimensional lumber. The dimensional lumber is, again, no quality control. You've got thick and thin. You've got, when you are buying number one, select, structural, and you're getting great big knots in it and whatnot, which take away from the integrity of the board. Did you show them some of the?
You got a select structural stick that was broken half on the knot.
Yep.
You got a truss that was cracked in half with an engineer's stamp on it.
Yep.
You got manufactured edges on plywood that rocked by more than 1/4 of an inch on each end to each other.
Yeah, they're not even stamped out.
On the side edges.
Yeah, they're not stamped out square. Yeah.
So, while we try to generally focus on good things around here, we try to also show the real side of things, and this has been part of the real side of building.
And I think everybody's dealing with it. They just...
Because all these pieces have been from different manufacturers, different companies, different suppliers. It seems to now be a universal issue. It's not one bad something.
No. I'm sure in some areas it's better, but out west here, I don't think it is. I was buying stuff by the units, and when you buy you know, a product by a unit, you got to figure a certain percentage is, you know, you're going to have to cut blocking out of it, or you can cut off a bad end on a piece of plywood here and there, but you only figure about, you know, a 0.5% that you've got to deal with that, and you just go on with life. I mean, nothing in this world is perfect, but this is way, way, way beyond perfect. You know.
Well, and it hasn't been 0.5% either.
No.
It's been 50 to 100%
Yeah.
of brand new materials.
But just like this door here, this particular door was built by another team. It's in better shape than the last door by far.
The second one we put in only had slightly misaligned hinges instead of badly misaligned hinges.
Mm-hmm.
Its threshold was correct, and the weather seal was only
It was a 1/4 inch
a
out.
quarter
They put
inch
the,
out
they
of
put the
whack
seal
on the bottom.
on the bottom of the door.
But on the second one, the frame was square, the door jamb, whatever you properly call that. So this one only had a few issues, where another one on the same pallet, shrink wrapped together with this one from the same factory, was a complete mess.
Yeah, and when you're doing stuff on a jig, it's quality control inside the factory. It's not just the labor. They've got machines set up wrong, you know, because they've got machines that do these hinges. All the hinges are installed crooked. That tells me that the machine that did this and pre-drilled the holes for the hinges was off. They did not have, I could set a hinge and have the screw go absolutely perfectly in the center of the hole. They make little gauges you put on there and give it a tap and it puts your hole dead center. They've got the same thing, but they do it all at once. And, you know, in one big machine, but they got the calibration wrong in the machine, and so everything's messed up. And, it's actually pretty sad.
Something to be aware of, and it's been very, very frustrating for Clay, because as he keeps telling me, he wants to build something that is done right and that he can be proud of. And he can't get any intact piece of functional material to build it out of.
No.
So hopefully that's helpful info to be aware of and be cognizant of if you are planning to do something like build a new place.
Thank you everyone for watching. It means a lot, and I hope you learned something along the way.
If you know somebody else who would enjoy this as well, share it with them.